Hi viewers, welcome to Gani's YouTube channel. In this tutorial, I'm going to explain you how to create this type of fabrication drawing in Tekla structures. Okay, let's start. Open Tekla structures with Indian environment. Now I'm going to create columns. So click on steel and select this column and click on here to place the column. Now I'm going to create one more column. So click on here to place the another column. Right click on mouse interrupt. Now I'm going to create beam. So select this beam and pick the first point at here. Pick the second point at this end. Right click on mouse interrupt. Now I'm going to create connection between this column to beam. So go to application components by using the shortcut control F, or you can click on here. In search bar type number 144. Then you will get this component end plate number 144. So select this component and pick the main part as a column and pick the second part as a beam. Now close this window. Right click on mouse interrupt, click on space, right click on mouse zero view. Use the shortcut control 4 for render view for columns and beams. Use the shortcut shift 4 for render view for components. Now click on space, right click on mouse zero view. Now use the shortcut control R and pick the rotation point here and use the control and mouse middle button to rotate like this. Now zoom it here. Now I'm going to edit this connection, so double click on it. Now zoom out and zoom in here. Now click on this bolts tab. In bolts you can control bolt size. So for example, let's take here bolt 20 dia bolt and tolerance 2 mm. Now click on here and select middle to place these bolts at middle. Let's take edge distance here 50. Number of bolts, let's take 3, and spacing we're going to take 100 mm. Now click on modify it. You can see you'll get like this. Okay, now I'm going to take edge distance here 55. Click on modify it. Now coming to widthwise, let's take here 40 edge distance, number of bolts 2, and spacing we're going to take 80 mm. Click on modify it. Now I'm going to change this part mark number. So click on this place tab. Initial prefix we're going to take P for part P1, P2, P3 like that. Now coming to start number, always we need to take 1 to count the series from start from 1. So click on modify, apply, OK. Similarly, we need to give the prefix for this beam also, part prefix. So double click on this beam. You can see in number series by default we have prefix M, but we're going to take P for counting P1, P2, P3, part 1, part 2, part 3 like that in assembly drawing, fabrication drawing. So start number, always we need to take 1. So click on modify it and close it. Similarly, we're going to create same connection at this junction. So go to application components by using the shortcut control F and select this component end plate 144 and select the main part as a column and pick the second part as a beam. Now close this window, right click on mouse interrupt, click on space, right click on mouse zero view. Use the shortcut control R and pick the rotation point here. Hold the control and mouse middle button to rotate and zoom it here by using the scroll. You can see you'll get like this with the same dimension. Okay, now go to create numbering for this beam. So you can go to the drawings and reports, click on here and click on perform numbering and select this number modified objects to create numbering. Click on the save numbers. Now click on space, right click on mouse view. Okay, now go to create fabrication drawing for this beam. So select this beam, right click on mouse, create drawing, click on this assembly drawing. You can see one drawing created successfully. Now click on space, right click on mouse view. Now go to drawing list by using the shortcut control L and scroll it here. You can see we have part mark number B1 assembly drawing. So double click on it to open the drawing. Click on here to close the drawing list. You can see by default we have beam and we have sections here like this. We have top view and front view like this. Now I'm going to delete this section view on dimensions, and once again we need to create these dimensions to understand which dimensions are required to give the in drawing. I'll explain you. So drag and delete this section view, and you can delete this top view also and zoom it and drag and delete this all dimensions. Select by using the left mouse key and click on delete to delete the part mark and dimensions like this. Now I'm going to change this position of this view. Just click on this outer rectangle box and click on it, and by using the left mouse key and hold the left mouse key and drag and place like this. You can place in drawing sheet wherever you want, just like this. Okay, now I'm going to delete this center line of this beam, so double click on this center line. Now remove the tick mark here, click on modify, apply, OK. You can see in our drawing we have the part. This is the one part, and this is the another part, and this is the another part. Okay, you can see in bill of material we have part P1 and P2. In part P1 is the ISMB 300 and P2 is the plate 12 by 160 width. We have two quantity. You can see this is the P2 and this one also P2, and this is the P1. Now select any one part and right click on mouse, add mark and applied. You can see that by default we have assembly mark here, so double click on it. We need part position, so select it and remove this assembly position and select this part position, click on add, then click on modify. You can see you'll get part position like this. If you want to create arrow, then click on this general and click on here arrow and select this option, click on modify it. You'll get like this. If you want to change this frame type, then click on here, and we have different types of frames here. According to your requirement, you can choose from this list. Currently we are using rectangular frame. Now click on modify, apply. You can save this part position, so let's take here part mark. Now click on save and click on modify, apply, OK. Click on here and drag and place it here. Similarly, you can create remaining parts at once, so use this option. Select parts in drawing, double click on it to activate only this part. Drag and select all parts, then right click on mouse, add mark and applied to create all parts, part marks. So you can see now we have P2 and this is the P2. We don't require this whole dimension at here, so click on it and remove it. Before that, we need to activate all filters once again, so click on this select all to activate all filters. Now click on this dimension and delete it. We don't require this whole dimension here, so remove it. Now we have part number P1 and we have part number P2 here. Select it and hold shift and left mouse key to adjust the position of this part mark, and only use the left mouse key to adjust the position of this part mark without moving this arrow. Okay, do the same procedure at here like this. We have this part P1 and P2 on both sides for this fabrication drawing. So click on here and drag and place it here. Okay, now go to create single part drawing for this beam and this plate. So if you have multiple parts, then you can use the same filter here. Double click on this select parts in drawing. Now drag and select all parts, right click on mouse, create single part views. You can see now we have single part views like this. Now select this option, select all, and you can arrange these drawings. So click on space, right click on mouse, arrange drawing views. Now click on this beam, drag and place it here. We don't require this top view for this plate and side view, this section view also. Just drag and select it and delete it. Now I have this dimension like this. Now I have the dimensions for this hole and total width and whole dimension and total length here like this. Okay, for example, if you want to create this dimension, just click on it and delete. I'm going to explain you how to create a dimension here. Click on this dimensioning option, click on this vertical dimension and click on here first point and second point here, next point here and next point here, and press the scrolling button to place the dimension. Right click on mouse interrupt. You can see by default we have arrow type like this, but in this dimension we have arrow and the type. You can apply this property to this dimension also. For example, double click on this dimension and you can save this dimension property name. For example, let's take dimension. Now click on save it. You can see now we have dimension here. We have saved already here. For example, let's take D and click on save. You can see now we have D here. So property. So select this dimension and click on this option D and click on load it. Click on modify to apply the same property for remaining dimension also like this. You can see now we have this whole part mark, 6 number of holes, and D is the diameter and number 22 dia hole. So double click on it. Now I'm going to change this color, so select this D and click on here and let's take color this one. Now click on modify, apply, OK, like this. If you want to create the arrow, then double click on it, click on this general and click on here and select this arrow, click on modify, apply, OK, like this. Now we need to create the part mark for this plate, so click on it, right click on mouse, add mark and applied. Now we have the part mark P2 for this plate, like this. If you wanted to change this arrow color and frame color, then double click on it, click on this general and frame color, let's take this one, modify it, apply, OK, like this. Okay, now we have the single part P2 and we have the single part P1 here. So delete this part mark and click on this, right click on mouse, add mark and apply. You can see now we have part mark number P1 and length we have 5576 in bill of material. You can see now I have length 5576. You can see in scale we need to reduce the scale to compress to up to this scale, and we need to increase the length also. For example, double click on it, this beam outer box, to see the scale how much it is. You can see now we have the scale for this beam, we have 1 by 10. So similarly we need to take the same scale for this single part views. So double click on this inside rectangle. You can see by default we have 1 by 5, so let's take 1 by 10 and click on modify it. Now coming to length, length should be more than width, so we're going to increase the length. So click on this attributes 2, and currently this beam part is shortening, so we need to increase the only length. So let's take here 600. Now click on modify it. You can see now the length of this beam is increased. Now click on apply, OK. You can see now we have the part mark here. Now we need to remove this center line, so double click on this center line, remove the tick mark here. Now click on modify, apply, OK, like this. Okay, now we have single part drawing, length 5576 and part number P1. In bill of material we have the information about the profile ISMB 300, and we have the standard material type and quantity and length and area and weight also. Okay, now coming to this single part drawing 1, and this is the number 2. In part 2 we have total length and width, and we have the whole dimensions here, and in widthwise and lengthwise, and we have whole size and part number also. Okay, so we can arrange these parts here. Select this rectangle and drag and place it here, like this. Now click on it and drag and place here, and this rectangle also here. Now coming to this assembly mark, we need to create assembly dimensions here. So first of all we need to create total length of this assembly. So select this horizontal distance and pick the first point here and pick the second point here to create total dimension of this assembly. You can see now we have 5600 total length. Now we have the part mark P1 and P2. Now this we need to mention the dimensions and relation between this P1 and P2. We need to create section view also here. So click on this view and select this section view and pick the first point here and pick the second point and pick the cut box first point and pick the cut box second point here and click on here to place the section view. You can see now we have section view like this. Now delete these dimensions, all dimensions. Now we have the section AA. Double click on it. Now I'm going to reduce this arrow size. So let's take here 5 and 5. Modify it like this. Now we're going to move in left side. So enter here. Let's take here 6. Click on modify it. Okay, still we're going to move 7. Modify it and apply. Okay, this is enough. Click on it and drag and place here. Click on it and use the left mouse key to drag and place it here. Okay, now we have section AA. Okay, if you want to place this section AA, title bottom side, then double click on it. Click on labels tab. Click on here. Let's take below. Now click on modify to see the result. You can see now label we have bottom side. If you want to remove the scale, then in A2, remove this mark here, delete it, click on modify to update here, then click on OK. Okay, now we have section AA like this. Okay, in section AA we need to give the relation between this part and this part, P1 and P2. So we need to mention the part mark here. So select this plate, right click on mouse, add mark and apply to create the part mark P2 here like this. Now we need to create P1 part mark also. Select it, right click on mouse, add mark and apply it to create part mark P1 like this. Now we need to give the relation between P1 and P2. So this beam exactly at the middle of this plate. So we need to give the dimension. So click on this dimensioning and select this horizontal distance. Select the hole and pick the second point middle of this beam and pick the next point at hole. And press the scroll wheel button to place the dimension. Right click on mouse, interrupt and click on it and drag and place it here. Okay, double click on it, this dimension is not enough, so we need to make it this 40 outside. So click on here and select this outside, click on modify, apply, OK to place the dimension like this. Similarly, we need to mention the relation between this plate to this beam in vertical. So select this vertical distance and pick the first point here, pick the second point at the middle of this beam and pick the next point at here and press the scroll wheel button to place the dimension like this. Now you can see, now this hole versus beam is the middle and here also middle. Now coming to this welding, you need to mention the weld symbol between P1 and P2. So generally we are going to give here all round weld. So click on this annotation and select this weld symbol here, weld mark, and pick the first point here, pick the second point here to create weld mark like this. By default we have single side weld. So double click on it. We need to place near side. So click on here and select this near side and weld size here 6. Let's take and remove this dimension for far side. Click on modify. You can see now this welding is near side. Now we need to create around weld. So click on here and select this around. Click on modify, apply, OK like this. Okay, similarly this one also P2. This symbol, you need to mention the weld symbol here also. So click on this weld mark and pick the first point and pick the second point to create weld mark like this, around weld. Okay, now in our section we have P1 and P2. In this section also we'll get the same view, so no need to create another section here. Just create section AA dummy arrows. So click on this annotations and select the section mark and pick the first point here and pick the second point. We need to create in this left side view. So click on escape and select the section mark and pick the first point at bottom and pick the second point at top to create like this. You can see now we have section AA and here also section AA. You can see we have the same view like this. So one section is more than enough for a section. So just keep it like this. This is section view for this beam. Now I have the single part drawing for this fabrication drawing here, P1 and P2 like this. Now we need to manage this position of these parts properly in this drawing sheet like this. Okay, that's it about how to create fabrication drawing for this beam. Now use the shortcut Ctrl S for save this drawing and close the window here. Use the shortcut Ctrl L for drawing list. Now you can see now we have created drawing for this B1 assembly drawing. So select this drawing, right click on mouse, click on this print to convert this drawing into PDF. Now select this option PDF file. Now select this open folder when finished the drawing. Now click on here to see the preview and click on print to create PDF drawing. Okay, currently I'm closing this window here like this. Okay, that's it about how to create fabrication drawing for this beam in Tekla structures. If you like this video, please like it and share it. If you have any doubts, please comment below. For more Tekla structure related videos, please go to my channel youtube.com/GaniSK. I will provide this link in the description below of this video. Please go through it and come here. Under videos, you can find out so many Tekla structure related videos. I hope these videos might be helpful to you. and at the top right corner please click on subscribe button. If you subscribe you will get notification or updates when uploading new video, so please click on subscribe. Okay, thank you.